What is going on, everybody? How are we all doing? And welcome back today to another installment of the Rotation Road to Glory on FIFA 18, where today, again, we are going to be talking about a topic surrounding FIFA 18, very relevant one actually. Today, we're going to be discussing the new patch, why there are so many patches on FIFA, and the lack of information that EA Sports give us regarding some of the patches and the way the game mechanics work. It's going to be a lot to cover, and we might talk a bit more about this in the next episode as well if we don't get a chance to cover it all today. But if you do enjoy this video, as always, be sure to leave a big thumbs up on the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. I'm going to say a massive thank you for your support on the last episode of this. It was a new format where we spoke about... I can't even remember what we did speak about last time, but I told you it was going to be a new format. A lot of you guys seem to really enjoy it. So again, any questions, anything you got to comment on about what we're talking about in today's episode or a future topic, leave it in that comment section down below. And also, so that you know, in the gameplay that you've seen in the background today, you're going to be seeing some seasons footage rather than some data knockout. For a change, you're going to be seeing us winning Division 6. I know it's only Division 6, but a lot of games needed to be played. I've not really been doing much season, so you're going to be seeing that in the background. You're going to be seeing us sell our old team, which I think you've already seen in the background at this point, and you're going to be seeing us build a new team, which I think you've also just seen in the background, where we get Kevin De Bruyne, Dries Mertens, Gabriel Jesus, and we're going to be selling that team again, but I don't think that's going to be in this episode. I think that's going to be later on this week probably. But yeah, you're also going to be seeing the Scream SBC Part 2, where we trade in our Sacco to get another Scream card, take our chances to see if we can get a better card. And then you're also going to be seeing the Squad Battles rewards and also the marquee matchups, hopefully. So a lot's going to be going on in the background, but I'm going to leave that to play now and just talk a little bit about, like I say, the patch that has come out today and why there are so many patches on FIFA 18. Because today's patch, it's one of those things. Let's start again here. But how many months are we into FIFA? 2 months now. Not even that. We've had, yeah, I'd say about 2 months into FIFA. I feel like already we've had 4 patches, 4 major patches into the way the game works, the way the gameplay mechanics work, and it's kind of crazy, really. I think it's kind of ridiculous. And the new patch has changed the passing. I've not actually played on the new patch yet, so if you guys have, let me know what you think in the comment section. But they've majorly changed the passing mechanics. They've tried to fix the goalkeeper and shooting again, as well as other minor fixes. But I think it's crazy how much that EA patch the game when it comes down to what the community thinks. Now, you might say it's a good thing that EA listen to the community and then they patch the game based on the community's input, but I just think there are so many different opinions right now in the community into how the game feels. It's very difficult for EA to really gauge what needs fixing and what doesn't need fixing, because in my experience, people in the community a lot of the time, just if they're not doing very well, they'll blame the game, they'll moan about the game, they'll say something that needs fixing, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you've got to have a look at yourself and say, I am the reason I've lost that game, and that's sometimes why I think people just bitch and moan about the game, and that forces change. Now, I think interesting thing with this patch is, like I said, they've changed the passing majorly. Now, what I've been seeing from people saying on Twitter and whatnot on the their initial thoughts on the patch is that the passing feels a lot slower. The gameplay in general feels a lot slower. It's a lot harder to do tiki-taka, and that to me is really disappointing, because I enjoy playing like quick passing football, and it's going to be a shame if that has been removed from FIFA 18 just because a few people were moaning about the gameplay before. Other people seem really happy about it, and I just think EA are put in this very difficult position every time where it's like, what can you do to please everyone? It's impossible to please everybody with FIFA, because let's take goalkeepers for example, and shooting. If they make goalkeepers really, really good, people are going to moan that the goalkeepers are too good and it's impossible to score. If they make goalkeepers awful, people are going to moan that the goalkeepers are awful and it's too easy to score. Now, you might say to yourself, well, you need to find a fine balance in the middle of the park in between the goalkeepers being not great, between them being good and not awful at the same time. But that line is such a fine line to tread, because everybody's user experience in FIFA is so different. Because, I mean, that is something that I think you're always going to get from FIFA, because football is the kind of game that's in real life, not in FIFA, just football in reality is a game that's fine margins. Anything can happen at any time, and that is something that is resembled in FIFA. And when that thing happens on FIFA to you, and you think, how on earth has that happened? You know, you think it's because the game's broken. And I think sometimes, not always, obviously you do get some bugs and stuff, but maybe every now and then you'll have like once a month you'll have an instant where your goalkeeper drops the ball into your own net or something ridiculous like that, and you blame the game, so the game's awful, game's broken. But at the end of the day, that stuff happens in real life in football. So EA have got a very fine line to tread when it comes down to how they fine-tune these things like goalkeepers and shooting, because to me it's nearly impossible for them to get it spot on, because you only have to waver very slightly one side or the other and people are going to moan. It's going to be exactly the same with passing. People were moaning that it was too easy to pass quickly and do nice moves. They've changed that now, so it's going to be slower, and everyone's going to moan that it's too slow. Like I said, that's been the initial thoughts of people that have been playing it that I've seen on Twitter. So I actually feel a little bit sorry for EA in that regard, because it's going to be nearly impossible for them to get the game in a state where everybody's happy with it. It's always going to lean towards one person's particular game style and away from somebody else's, and that means that that person isn't going to be happy. Now, one place I do lose sympathy for, which I don't think we're going to talk about massively today, but I'm going to briefly touch on it now. I might talk about this next episode if you want me to, is the lack of information that they give people, because I think a way that EA could appease the community sometimes is by saying, right, these are the stats, this is what this means, this is the percentage chance of this happening and what this stat means. And to give you an example, this one isn't to do with gameplay, but stuff like packs. I think when you open a pack, it should say on the pack what the chance in percentages of you getting a certain player. Now, not every single individual player, obviously it shouldn't say like you've got this % chance of getting Ronaldo or this % of getting Messi, but stuff like informs, you know, when you open like a 5k pack, maybe it says you've got a 1% chance of getting a special card. Maybe if you opened a 100k pack, it'll say like you've got a 25% chance of getting a special card. Now, obviously I'm making these numbers up off the top of my head, but I don't see why EA can't give you like a percentage or a number or something to tell you what the likelihood is of you packing a certain thing in a certain pack. And I think you could then transfer that into the gameplay by telling us what the stats mean. And what I mean by that is, if someone's got 90 pace and someone's got 85 pace, what is the difference there? How quickly are they able to sprint 100 metres? How quickly are they able to get from one end of the pitch to the other? If someone's got 74 stamina, if someone's got 90 stamina, if you run with them for the entire game, how quickly would they run out? Just little things like that, where I don't think that they could put that in the game necessarily. And what I mean by that is, I don't think it could be on your disc, because that's a lot of information, but I don't understand why they couldn't make that knowledge public, and then if you wanted to, you could go and look on a site like FootWiz, Foothead, something like that, dig out that information, and you could see what the stats in game translated to on the actual pitch when you're playing the game. I don't see why that's something that EA couldn't do. Now, obviously in football and in FIFA, like I've already mentioned today, there are a lot of variables, but I think if you said to someone, or said to the community I should say rather, when you're in one-on-one with a striker, if he's got 88 finishing in this position, he has got a so-and-so percent chance of finishing that goal as long as you do this, you know, keep the power ball within a certain area or something like that. And this to be fair, I'm making it confusing on myself here, because this is where it is difficult, because there's so many variables, but I just don't understand why EA can't make it a bit more transparent is all I'm saying. Maybe not with the in-game stats, maybe that'd be very difficult with particularly certain ones, but I just think they need to make the game a lot more transparent, and that way when they do bring out a patch and they do make changes to the game, I think the community would respond better to it, because they'd know a lot more about what the patch would change and just how it would affect the game in general. So I don't see why EA couldn't do that. I think that'd be a massive step in the right direction. And I also feel like there's been so many patches that at some point EA need to say, this is the game, there's only going to be minor changes from this point on, because the other issue I have with it is that you get really used to the game, and then they'll do a patch, and then you just completely have to start from scratch almost from where you were in the game before, because you'll be really used to it, you'll be playing well, and all of a sudden it's like the carpet's pulled from under you, and you're having to learn the game all the way from scratch again. Not from scratch obviously, but you know, you'll be getting used to the way the game plays, and then it's, you know, you have to learn something all over again. But it's certainly a very complex issue. It's certainly something that you guys can discuss in the comment section down below in depth, because there's so many sides to the coin. It is very, very difficult to call. But that is going to end this portion of the video. You're now going to see us open up our squad battle rewards from Monday, and then followed that, we're following up with the marquee matchups after that as well. So I'll speak to you guys in the pack opening section of the video, and yeah, be sure to leave your thoughts on what I've just been talking about in that comment section down below. So guys, as you can see, our squad battles rewards are ready to be claimed. We finished Elite 1 again, so as usual we'll be getting the 39,800, basically 40k, as well as a couple of mega packs, so hopefully we can get something good. The last 2 weeks haven't been too bad in terms of rewards. A couple of weeks ago was our best so far. We managed to get ourselves James Rodriguez, which was fantastic. Last week they weren't great, apart from the fact we packed Inform Al Sommer, who is literally, I've still got to be discard, but you know what, an Inform, I'm not going to complain at that. I do want to show you, before we do get into the rewards, the current squad that we're using. I did say last time that I wanted to change it. I can't remember if you've actually seen this squad at this point or not, but if not, here it is. So it's basically We wanted to utilise the Scream Sacco that we packed last time out. He's been pretty decent, I won't lie. He's been okay, but I do think as soon as the Scream effect, or when he doesn't become so OP, when he drops back down to an 82, I'm probably going to change out the team a little bit more and drop him. De Bruyne, Mertens and Jesus were the main additions really to the team. You've got De Bruyne's been absolutely fantastic. Bought him for 255k. He's got 48 games, 36 goals and 29 assists thus far, which is fantastic. Jesus is now just shy of a goal a game. He's on 48 games, 45 goals and 49 assists, but really, this man here, Dries Mertens, has been the star of the show this week. He's played 48 games, 64 goals and 41 assists. He's been absolutely incredible. Would highly recommend it. What I do want to do eventually, I've got a suspicion that it's going to be Kevin De Bruyne that gets the Player of the Month award. When that happens, I think I don't know if you will or not, but there's always a chance that you might need De Bruyne to use to get the Player of the Month version. If that happens, then I'm probably going to sell this De Bruyne, or if it's attainable that we can get the Player of the Month De Bruyne, I'll get him, but I don't think it will be. But hopefully you do need him. His price will rocket and we'll sell him on. Then, once I've sold a few other things in the club, I do want to try and get Paul Pogba into this team with a few untradables and see if we can build a team around him, because he's a player that I never got to use last year. I really want to use him this year. I think he's going to be really good, and I think he's an elite player that we can potentially build our team around, so that's what we're going to work on. Of course, it does depend on things like what we get in our rewards and stuff like that, so hopefully we can do well. You can see again we got Elite 1, like I've just said, getting our 40k and 2 mega packs. I always say this, if we can get one board or one player that's worth 10k at least, I will be happy, but there's always potential to get something more. There's always potential for it to be awful as well. So first pack, we're looking for that shine down the side of the pack to tell us that it's a board player. Please let it be. It's not going to be in the first pack. That is very disappointing. I won't lie. Can we get someone like a Jesus, someone that's worth a bit of money? It's an Argentinian cam. I don't think it's going to be very good. It's Lanzini, 81 rated. A player that I think a lot of people thought at the start of the year was going to be pretty OP, but from what I've heard, he's not that great. He's quite disappointing, actually. What else have we got in here? We've got Papadopoulos. Yeah, it's not a great pack, is it? Not a board player, not a single player that's going to be worth anything whatsoever. A few squad fitnesses, which is always handy, but the second pack, can it redeem itself? We want a board. Give us that flash at the side. Show us something good. Please, it's got to be, surely. Oh, it's not a board again. 2 mega packs and no board. That's always really disappointing. We're going to get an Ivory Coast right mid. It's going to be Wilfried Zaha, just come out of impacts as an inform, of course, last week. So I think it's fair to say that those rewards are pretty goddamn awful. Is there going to be anything else to redeem us inside this pack? It's not looking likely. Battaglia, we seem to pack that guy all the time. We've got Kune, we've got Kuyate, Vetsfordidis. Yeah, it's pretty awful. It's got to be said, as far as squad battles rewards go, they are amongst the worst that we've had so far this year.